Hello, this is Dr. Justin Henry Rubin of the University of Minnesota Duluth Music Department, and I'm going to be teaching some tonal harmony concepts. Often when teaching tonal harmony, we see scores and we're using our eyes, but music starts with our ears, and so I'm going to be teaching some concepts about tonal harmony from an aural perspective. One of the most commonly misunderstood harmonies is the augmented sixth chord. How to spell it, what it means, what it does, the various versions of them. So let me give you an idea of what an augmented sixth is and how it's used in music. Let's use our ears. Let's take a key. For example, D major. The first thing we need to do is identify the dominant. In this case, it's A. Now we just have to pinch in just a little bit on either side of that doubled dominant. Take the higher note and go down a semitone from A to G sharp. Now take the lower dominant and move up a semitone from A to B flat. That, my friends, is the augmented sixth. The last element that you find in almost every augmented sixth chord is the tonic to the key to which it is attached. So in this case, we need to add a D. That's it. The tonic of the key that you're in, and then a semitone above and below the dominant of that key. And this chord wants to resolve to the dominant, in this case, an A major chord. The thing about the augmented sixth chord is, even calling it a chord is a little strange. It's more of an action of voice leading, because you see, there is no way of spelling it triadically. Sure, some theorists like to say, well, you could take this note and sharpen it, and this note and flat it, and then you have a... It doesn't really work that way, because that's not the way composers from the common practice era thought about that harmony. The harmony was thought of as being a surrounding, a halo, if you will, around the dominant. If you have your dominant, and you just surround it, add the tonic, and resolve it to the dominant. If those are the only three elements, the augmented sixth with the tonic, that's an Italian sixth. Normally in that case, the tonic will be doubled and then resolve out. There's two other typical augmented sixth chords that people like to talk about. One is called the French augmented sixth. In this case, we take the same exact harmony and we add the second scale degree, which resolves to itself. Another type of augmented sixth chord is known as the German augmented sixth. In this case, you take the flatted third scale degree. If you're in a minor key, you don't have to flat the third scale degree because it's normally a minor third. If we're in a major key like D major, we have to take that third scale degree and lower it. Everything else stays the same. So we have our tonic, and we have our two notes that create a halo around the dominant. And now just add that minor third. The funny thing about the augmented sixth chord is that it doesn't matter if you are in major or minor, it's exactly the same harmony. So let's say that instead of being in the key of D major, we're in the key of D minor. The harmonies don't change. If you take the tonic, and then you take a semitone above and below the dominant, it's exactly the same as if it's in major or minor. And that's because the dominant is the same in major and minor. It's a major chord. There's your German augmented sixth. Your French augmented sixth. And your Italian augmented sixth. Now there is another augmented sixth chord that we should talk about. It's called the Swiss sixth. This chord actually sounds exactly the same as another augmented sixth chord. Listen. The issue is how it is spelled. Do you notice that there's a different resolution to this harmony? It actually goes to a cadential 6/4 chord, or a dominant chord with a couple of appoggiaturas that hold it back from going to the 5. It's just another way of delaying our arrival at the dominant. In this case, we have our augmented sixth chord, the German version, and then instead of going directly to the dominant, we first go to the cadential 6/4 chord. In this case, and I will have to talk about spelling here a little bit again, normally we would have D, B flat, G sharp in an Italian augmented sixth, there's our German augmented sixth with an F natural. Well, if you respell this F natural as an E sharp, meaning that it wants to resolve up, going to the cadential 6/4 chord, resolving to 5. Another thing I should mention with the German augmented sixth chord is that when you hear it, it actually sounds like a different harmony. Here's the German augmented sixth in D again. Now if you break down that harmony, B flat, D, F, G sharp, when spelled this way, it wants to resolve to the dominant. However, when you really listen to it, if you enharmonically exchange the G sharp with an A flat, it just sounds like a dominant seventh chord. And you can imagine many composers have taken advantage of that double meaning. Let's try some other keys and do them with me. For example, let's try the key of F major. The first thing that we do is what? We identify the dominant. So in the key of F, the dominant is C. If you've noticed, I've doubled it. This is an easy way to think about it. All we now have to do is pinch in. So what's a semitone above and below C? It's D flat and B natural. There's your augmented sixth. You're already there. What element do we have to add now? We add the F, the tonic of the key that we're in. In this case, that's an Italian sixth. Now let's think for a moment. If we wanted to make this a German augmented sixth, what note would we have to add? The third scale degree, but make sure that it's a minor third or flatted third if we're in a major key. In this case, the third scale degree of F is A. We flat it. We add all the other elements, the tonic, the two notes that surround the dominant, and now that flatted third. When we resolve it, what about the French augmented sixth chord? How do we change that? Well, again, you have the same beginning three elements. Now we have to add, yes, the second scale degree. In the key of F major, or F minor for that matter, it's the note G. notice it does definitely change the quality of the augmented sixth chord. Why is that? Well, when you break down what a French augmented sixth chord consists of, it's two interlocking tritones. If we did this in F minor, no difference. Let's try the same example, but now let's go to the Swiss sixth. For an F minor, here's our augmented sixth chord. First, the augmented sixth portion, the tonic, and instead of thinking of it as a flatted third, think of it as a sharpened second. Instead of A flat, think of it as G sharp. There we have our cadential 6/4 chord, 5/7, and 1. You'll notice that instead of calling something a 1/6/4 or a tonic chord in second scale degree, I've been calling it a cadential 6/4. We'll explain that in a different lesson. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me and learning a little bit about the augmented sixth chord.